What's up guys, TheDevildogGamer here. Today we're taking a look at an FPS shooter that takes place in the vacuum of space called Boundary. Now this game was shown off about a year ago and I'd completely forgotten about it until the demo popped up in my Steam Next Fest, and I've been playing it ever since. The premise of this game is pretty simple. It is a tactical FPS shooter in the vacuum of space using spacesuits around a derelict space station or an active space station using EMU units, which are extravehicular mobility units, which use RCS to kind of thrust you around and move you around. You use a variety of different weapons, to sniper rifles, submachine guns, shotguns, assault rifles, and you have this freedom of movement that you don't really get in many other games. You can spin around, you can go up and down, you can flip around. There's like a 6 degrees of movement in the vacuum of space, and it allows for some pretty interesting combat. Honestly, this game reminds me of the COD Ghost mission where you have to go to the Odin space station and you get into this combat in 0G, and it's a kind of really a refreshing take on an FPS shooter. Every FPS shooter nowadays is on the ground. The only difference is the maps are different, the gunplay is different. This takes that gunplay and just puts it into a whole different freedom of movement that you get. It kind of feels like a bit of Titanfall plus Call of Duty, and it's unique and I like it. Your astronaut's outfitted with a few different things. You can get tons of different guns, whether it be pistols, SMGs, shotguns, sniper rifles, with a lot of customization to them. You can outfit and edit different parts to them, scopes, muzzle brakes, grips, things like that. On top of that, your EMU unit can carry a bunch of different things. Proximity sensors that you launch out, which actually can ricochet through space because it's a vacuum, there's no gravity. Smoke grenades, which when they go off are just a big little circle of smoke because, well, it's a vacuum, it's not going anywhere. You can get missile launchers that you can fire out. There's a lot you can upgrade just to the suit itself along with your weapons. Your astronaut also gets a grappling hook, which you can use to launch to close objects to pull towards, to either give a speed boost or pull you towards it, and use your magnetic boots to stick to it. You can use the magnetic boots to kind of walk around on space stations, debris, things like that, to kind of walk and get an angle on other people. The game modes are pretty simple. It's your normal TDM, domination, search and destroy, and there's really no variation on it other than the atmosphere and the map you get to use and how you get to navigate that map. You of course get 3 different operators: your assault, your sniper, and your recon. The assault has kind of a liquid-filled, very bulky suit that can absorb more damage before anybody else. Your sniper gets steady aim to be able to kind of aim a little better and can carry sniper rifles, DMRs, things like that. Your recon kind of primarily can get close and very mobile, very fast, very small, and you get close in and use knife attacks really well, and also submachine guns and shotguns and other stuff. The operators and the weapons that you get are nothing really special. It's all tried and true FPS stuff, your classes, the weapon assortments, and things like that. It does give me kind of like nostalgia for All Mankind, one of my favorite TV shows, seeing all the white guns from the astronauts holding the guns though, and I think that's kind of like why I enjoy it. On top of it just like being kind of combat similar to like my favorite show and kind of bringing back the COD Ghost, the freedom of movement in it is its biggest draw. The movement with the grapple hook and the magnetic boots, along with being able to go up, down, spin around, like say you peek up above something with your head and someone shoots at you, you can flip all the way down and peek your head below that object to get a different angle. It allows kind of a freedom of movement to be a little more sneaky or tactical. It's not just like, well, I have to go around this corner, I'm trying to assault this house. It's, well, I can't go up, let me go spin completely around below and I'm gonna flank around in like this weird maneuver and sneak up on these guys. I think that's this game's biggest draw. It's a really unique movement system to the FPS genre that's really, the FPS genre is just so worn out right now. I mean, there's not much when it comes to new stuff, new techniques, new concepts that I think Boundary brings this new concept of the movement and the 6 degrees of freedom in a vacuum that it makes it something unique and special. The gunplay it's a vacuum of space. You fire a gun, there's no gravity, no bullet drop. The only thing you need to do is work on your leads because everybody can move any which way, so the leading people is a little more difficult than other games because they have the ability to kind of maneuver all over the place and even apply the brakes and stop while you're leading, and that kind of makes the aiming a little challenging. But the biggest draw is just when you get into these close fights where everyone's maneuvering around differently, spinning while they're going up, and then suddenly they're going more up to the right. It kind of creates this new gameplay that most FPS games really don't get. demo itself ran pretty well, didn't really run into many issues. It's 5v5 most of the time. The maps are derelict space stations that you can go in and out of, that you can assault in different ways. You can go in stations, out of stations, around them, hide behind a floating block. You know, the maps themselves aren't really anything special per se. It's mainly the movement system. And that's what worries me the most about this game. Is it going to have any staying power? Once the kind of novelty of the 6 Degrees of Freedom, fighting in a vacuum, and 0G wears off, what are we really going to have that this game offers? It does have your novelty, you know, damage system to it. Your suit takes enough punctures, you're dead, obviously. But if you get punctured once, you can actually stop and repair that puncture yourself to, you know, fix your suit. You know, if it's only one little puncture, you know, not a problem. But, you know, you hit somebody in the helmet, they're dead. You rupture the suit enough, they're dead. The vacuum of space, you're really not going to survive anything other than like a small little tear. The time to kill also isn't too bad. Sniper rifles are usually 1 or 2 hits unless you hit the head. The assault guy can tank some rounds because obviously he has that like liquid inside of his suit as like an armor. Which is a cool little idea, and you know, the suits look cool themselves, especially the assault suit. It's just this big bulky setup that you see flying around. But you know, I like the gunplay in it. It's not bad gunplay wise, surprisingly. I thought it was going to be a little more laser rifles and stuff like that, but you know, it actually works, and the gunplay is pretty good. One of my biggest gripes with the game though is it doesn't have rotating spawns. So if you end up pushing close enough, you can spawn camp people pretty easily, and with the freedom of movement that you can get with the 0G, you can spawn camp in some pretty ridiculous places to where most people aren't going to get a shot off on you. So that's something I would like to see change pretty quickly, because I got into positions where I pushed fast enough, killed the team, that I got right to their spawn, and I was just mowing them down as they were spawning in. So rotating spawns, kind of an FPS must at this day and age. Needs to be put into this game for sure. I think it's a pretty unique title. It's a unique gameplay. It has something special that not many games do. I mean, of course, Star Citizen, you can do the 0G combat too, but getting 0G combat is usually pretty difficult unless you're looking for it and other people are looking for it at the same time. But if you want to get in and experience something that's different in the FPS genre, I think this game really has it. Boundary is just something new to the table, breaks away from the traditional FPS games that we are used to, and introduces kind of a new movement system that is kind of based on reality. I mean, I could see something like this happening. You know, you can fire a gun in space. The Russians have tested it for sure. And the movement of it seems kind of similar to, you know, what you would get with if you had one of these EMU suits on. So it has kind of a realism to it. I mean, I say kind of because I'm not a physics nerd, so I can say, you know, it might work, it might not, but the idea of the game and how it plays out actually works pretty well. Boundary is slated to release sometime this year. They're not really good on news and updates and social media, because I literally had to find out it was on Steam by accident. So as you can tell, there's not really much marketing into it, in which now in a day and age, that's usually kind of bad for FPS games and games in general. So I'm hoping it is a release sometime this year with more progression other than the skins and the few attachments that you can get. Maybe some more classes, something else like that would be kind of cool. Bigger maps too, with more interior combat would be really awesome to see. I think it's something special. The movement in it is definitely worth someone taking a look at it, because it is something truly unique to the FPS genre. Will it have staying power? Will it be able to continue a life after initial launch? I'm not sure. Once the kind of the bells and whistles kind of wear off and, you know, everyone starts playing it more, maybe it won't stick around for that long. But if they can keep up with the development, maybe so. But I want to know what you guys think of Boundary. What do you guys think of this type of combat? Something that you look into? Is it something that's kind of groundbreaking? Let me know down in the comments below. Talk to you guys later. Peace.